Good morning, here's TB, back here at TB's blacksmith shop. I'm going to try to make a couple more knives today. It's Thursday morning, it's the first morning we've had that's not raining or drizzling or anything, so I'm going to give it a try if I can get this wet paper to light. Sometimes you'll have a problem like this if you don't have good dry paper. So here's what I'm going to do. I've made this fire or this kindling pile into a teepee style to get it started. I don't know if y'all will be able to see it. I think so. Let's see. Yeah. We got it smoking here. Sometimes you just have problems getting them started. I'm kind of trying to use wet paper. That's really not smart. That's all I got right now. Got some cardboard here. Once I get it started, I'll use some strips of this cardboard. Small piece of it though. We'll get it going. Once you get a piece of paper or cardboard hot, that old sack off that old charcoal that I had last time just didn't make it. So I'm going to get this down under there. Get that kindling pile I got there. And it won't take long now. We're starting to get some fire, and I'll just keep adding cardboard till I get that wood hot. That'll be good enough. Once we get us a pile of coals, then we can start to work something out here. Work something up. Possibly. Alright. Burning me pretty good. I don't know about the wood. I think we're on record. Let me check that. Yeah, it says we're recording. Good deal. Alright. We're getting her started here this morning. It's probably about 10:30, I guess, 11 in the morning. I had to run into town this morning and pick up some medicine from the mall, so it took me a little later than what I'd intended, but I still had to get some round stock. I couldn't find any brass round stock for the handles, what I call handle locks, but I wound up getting 1/4-inch dowel rod, and out of, I think it's an oak dowel rod for putting in to lock the wooden handles on when I get the knives built. I haven't got started yet. We're just getting some fire going. This here is just an old rusty file. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I'm gonna stick that in the fire, and I'm gonna see if I can make a knife out of that. I was thinking about leaving this back here with the file rough on the edge for the purpose of a striker. So when you hold your knife down, if you got a piece of flint or steel, against steel, you might get a fire going with it. Or a ferro rod, something to get a fire going with. Now, cardboard's burned up, but we still haven't got our wood on fire. Okay. If it keeps behaving that way, I'll add a little cooking oil to it. I'll get it started. This will be a bad. Gently blow on it and you see how it'll ignite again, and you just have to keep feeding it cardboard until you get that wood hot under there. When you get your wood on fire, it'll go once we get it hot enough to burn. That old wet paper I put in there is where my mistake was. I just did that to show you what can happen if you use the wrong materials to build a fire with. You don't have to use wet paper. It's not a wise idea, because then it puts your fire out. So now I'm sitting here feeding it cardboard to get that all dried out again. And some of that wood's got a little moisture in it from laying in the floor in the cabin to keep it dry, because it's on concrete floor, and it takes a bit to get the moisture dried out of it, so it'll take off. But once we get it took off, get that kindling on fire, which he's about to start doing something here in just a second. It's starting to cook. Okay, now get this little forge going. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my blower here. Hair dryer. All it is a little hair dryer. See that? Just a little pistol top hair dryer. You stick it in the, I've got a rubber hose clamp here just to set it in to help hold it, but you don't have to have that even necessarily, as long as you get it in the end of that pipe. Now watch this. I've got that on. Now we've got oxygen going to that fire from below, which is going to push the heat up through that kindling now. And it should start to burn good. Now I'd save this piece of cardboard if I don't need it for another round. I've got several pieces of wood laying here to add to it. But what we need is a pile of coals in there before we can get this hot enough. Yeah, I was wrong the other day. When I said 3,000 Fahrenheit, that's the melt steel, what I was thinking. But to soften it, about 1,500 degrees, I believe it is, to get that steel soft enough to shape it into stuff. It has to be pretty hot so it'll stay hot while you pound it out on the anvil. Now, I don't have an actual anvil. I've got an I-beam I'm using, just to show you can take other steel and make use of what you have on hand. That's what I do for survival. I use whatever I have on hands to make it. I remember one time I made a knife when I was out in the bush right off the side of the railroad track and used the track to beat the steel out of it. So you can improvise when you have to. Of course, it wasn't no pretty knife, and I didn't have no fancy handle. I just had it wrapped with bank line, I believe it was. I just wrapped it with a bunch of bank line so I'd have something comfortable to put in my hand on a piece of steel like this one. But the knife was made different than this one. This one here was a wide blade. It was a little thinner blade. It was kind of like a homemade hunting knife shiv. And then I made one that was kind of like a boa once. It had a bigger, thicker blade on the end. Sort of kind of like a half moon circle, and that one would do some serious ripping and chopping. Here we go. We're starting to get us a pile of coals. When I get this going, there's a piece of oak right here. Oh, I just ripped my hand with it. Now I skin it a little. No biggie. No blood flying. They ain't over yet. Down in there like that. Get some smaller wood here. Until we get it going, that's the idea. We gotta have some coals here. There we go. Now, some of this oak busted up. Come on, man. Yeah, boy. Burn good. Can't let it break. That old wood's pretty hard. This is a piece of cedar. It really don't matter that it's cedar. Any kind of wood, you get it hot, dead and dry, works. I've used elm to make knives, dead elm. As long as it's hot. This gets a lot hotter, I think, than that charcoal, but you know, whatever you want to use. Charcoal works, it's just slower to heat. And I wanted something to get with it. I like to get steel hot and get it done. The other day I was all day doing nothing, so you might just make this one knife. And sometimes that's with you. It don't hurt to take your time. If you got a lot of time, but in the bush you don't have a lot of time. Sometimes you need your equipment quick so you can get your job done, whatever it is you need to do, and a knife's a tool. That's basically what it is. It's a survival tool. It's one of the most necessary weapons you'll take in the bush, in my opinion. Without a knife, pretty well, I ain't gonna say the word, pretty well messed up, let's say. Lost, in my opinion. You can go out there and